Hello and welcome to week 2 in Technology and Society. And here we are going into chapter 2, Technology and History. I'm sort of I wouldn't say a history buff, but I really like the history of technology and the history of ideas, both in the world of psychology and beyond. So this was a fun chapter to put together. The discussion actually focuses on an area on a perspective, I guess a historical perspective regarding technology that I was unaware of until I started developing this class. So I learned quite a bit about that. And that is the 6 laws of technology. And so I want you to read that. It's in the course book. Look some extra stuff up. This is, the expectation is you're going to read what's in the course book. If that's not enough, look some things up, read some primary sources, take a hold of that curiosity that you have, get the deep dive into some of these concepts, and then come back to the discussion board and post some points of your own perspectives of the use of technology in your own life in regard to 1 or 2 of those laws. You don't have to go through all of them. Go through a couple of them. Your classmates, including you, will read each other's perspectives, take their technology, and add another one of the laws to it. So you're kind of helping each other build for each piece of technology that somebody discusses from these perspectives. You can collectively build an answer to all of those laws. Okay, you don't have to do them individually. Help each other to do that. So the kind of a collective assignment, putting these together. The quiz, kind of similar. I'm asking you to look at your current or future career and name the title of that career, and then cite how has technology changed in that particular field. It doesn't have to be, as we're going to find out in this class, it doesn't have to be computer technology or AI or anything. It can be the development of new saws. You could go historically and talk about the changes that have occurred in terms of joinery or metalwork or air conditioning or nursing or anything like that. Any technology that has occurred that has changed dramatically in your field, or actually the technology has changed your field dramatically. And that's what I'm asking for in that quiz. At this point as well, and if you've talked about this class to anybody who took it last semester when I first did this class, this part was not a part of the class last semester, but I'm making this course equivalent to the SOC109 class, so they meet that requirement in terms of our general education requirements. Now, what I've added to the class this semester are the special assignments, and the 2 that I'm focusing on right now are the information literacy paper and the service learning paper. The information literacy paper is essentially what you may know as a research paper. I approach it a little different philosophically, although in the end what you look at is basically the same as a research paper. The idea of the information literacy project is for you to ask a question. Your title of your paper is going to be that question. I will evaluate the paper to the degree that you have successfully answered that question using peer-reviewed resources from the field of sociology, psychology, history, or whatever, finding real good resources to ask that question. I do that by asking you to engage in a proposal quiz that you will find in the assessment section within this course, and there's also links, of course, within the timeline. I will ask you to state your question, and then the next one is, why are you interested in that? You have to score a 100 on that test in order to have your topic approved. This is a way for us to communicate. If we sat down, we would do the same back and forth. We would mess around with wording. What about this? What specifically are you looking at? I want to help you find a researchable question of interest to you in terms of the interface between sociology and technology. It has to be related to this class. You can go in and put vague ideas. That's a beginning. That's all right. You won't get 100 on it. We'll just go back and forth. I'll grade it. You take it again. I grade it. You take it again. And we go back and forth until you get a 100. And even then, you want to look at my feedback, because at that point, I might lead you in some directions. I'm going to be doing some background research to help you get information on that topic and give you some hints on how to access that particular information. So that's the first assignment. The other one is the service learning assignment. Now, what this entails is that you will either through your own personal contacts or contacts through the GivePulse software that we have here at KVCC, find an organization where you will volunteer your time. You will volunteer a minimum of 10 hours through the course of this semester at that organization. Your reflection paper, which is the culmination of that particular assignment, will demonstrate your knowledge of the topics we have talked about in this class. Now, in a general sociology class, it's the whole gamut. It's everything about sociology. In this one, we're going to particularly focus on technology, where your reflections within that paper will be, how have you seen the organization use technology? How have you seen them, in terms of the topics that are in our chapters? How do they use technology? And you're going to have 3 different topics associated in that paper. Now, those 2 assignments, you pick one of them. You don't do both. You just pick one. So the proposal asks you which one you're going to do. There's 2 proposal quizzes, I believe. 2 proposal quizzes. Do the one that you want to do. So if you want to do information literacy paper, go ahead and do that one. If you want to do a service learning, go ahead and do that one. If you want to send me an email asking me some questions and maybe some dialogue back and forth, want to have a Zoom meeting to talk about it, totally open to that. That would be great. But get those proposals started. It is extremely rare that people get a 100 on the first try on their information literacy paper. And I have to follow certain guidelines regarding service learning so that you and I don't get into any trouble legally with the Bureau of Labor and whatnot. So it's important that I also approve your service learning site. And then once you are decided in terms of where you're going to do your service, I will introduce you a little bit more to the tools that we have for you to report out to me. We have an online software called GivePulse that allows us to collect data from you about your experience, along with the final paper that you'll be submitting through Brightspace. So we have Chapter 2 discussion and Chapter 2 quiz, and then the beginnings of your proposals for those 2 options for your final project. So there's another special assignment. We'll get to that later in the course. And I'll discuss that later when we have a little bit more of the course behind us and it'll be better to understand what I'm looking for in that particular assignment. So the other thing you're going to want to do if you're going to do the service learning project is if you go into the course, let's see, I'll bring up the course here. You go into the course, go into content, and there's the link right here called GivePulse. Click on that, and then click right there. This is new. I just put it on today, so if you're seeing this for the first time, that's okay. You click on this, and it's going to bring you to the page for this class in GivePulse. If I click on it, it brings me to my management page. This is how I manage GivePulse. Your page isn't going to look like this at all. It's going to look very different. It's going to actually look like this. Loading here. It's going to look like that. You'll go in. You want to register yourself into GivePulse if you have not done so already. And it will cue you to do that. And so go ahead and register. Your registration is simply using your KVCC username and password. It's all synced for a single sign-on. And then I believe at that point you won't have to sign on again unless you sign out of everything and go back in. So those are the tasks. We have Chapter 2, the decision between the service learning paper and the information literacy paper, and the first draft of those proposals. And if you're doing the service learning, registering your name into GivePulse, because that's where you will be recording your hours and taking my survey that asks you about your experience. So that's it for this week. A little complex, a bunch of moving parts, but not complicated. Very simple and straightforward. Make sure you're reading all the course materials and have a great time with this one. It's kind of really fun to look at your own career and see how technology has shaped it over the years, what future technology is coming in to shape those careers, and kind of what this course is all about. So I will see you in the discussions. Be looking forward to hearing and viewing some of those proposals. Feel free to get out to contact me if you have any questions about those, and have a great week.